This is just my usual Tuesday suit. So I wanted to talk today about your dashboard, this idea of the dashboard, the control center, the cockpit. I really like thinking about us as a system, as a biomechanical machine. I mentioned this in my mindfulness video, but I wanted to just spend some time really fleshing that out because I think it's a really powerful analogy. And I'm wearing my suit because I like it, but also I think it's relevant because it's like I'm in a cockpit and I am an astronaut of sorts. So I'm going to invite you to take a moment and picture your control center that is running your machine. Maybe you picture your cockpit like the U.S. space shuttle. And it's, got screens and it's got dials and it's got switches everywhere and it looks really technical. Or maybe it's like the new SpaceX Dragon capsule, LED, displays and some like touch screens, and it looks very futuristic and sleek. Maybe it's like you're in the forest and it's like Lord of the Rings or something, and you're like cozy up in like the crook of the roots of a tree, plants that like talk to you, the forest at night in Avatar on Pandora, all the bioluminescent life around you, and it like reacts when you touch it, and maybe it's sending you signals. The roots are talking to each other. You get to create your own cockpit. So my invitation for you can do it right now. You can pause this video and take a moment, or do a little writing exercise or a drawing exercise and really flesh out what you feel like your cockpit, your control center, your dashboard, whatever that looks like. Totally up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Here's why I think it's valuable to do this exercise. The more adept we are at observing the data of what we're experiencing, the more in charge we are at responding to our needs and our experience. I'm going to say that again. The more adept we are at observing what signals our body is sending us, our heart is sending us, our head is sending us, our physical body is sending us, our spirit is sending us, right? Then the more we can choose and be at choice in terms of caring for ourselves, responding to that, making choices that serve us or serve the people we care about in the best way possible. So I like having a lot of fun with this. I like gamifying it, right? Let's gamify this. Let's make it fun. Let's put you in charge and get creative with it and have a ball creating your control center for your human machine. And then maybe think about where you're putting certain categories of data. Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Do I have to pee? Do I need sleep, right? Caring for our physical vessel is a really important part of self-care and well-being. And so maybe those display readouts, that data, is coming to you like over here. Maybe there's like a section of, you've got a whole monitor and there's little picture it like a video game. I don't know, whatever the kids do with the games. So picture that the screen that's giving you the information about your physical data, right? Is my thirst level going up? Is my thirst level going down? Am I hungry going up? How much energy do I have, right? You can almost see the dials, switches, maybe it's steampunk and you got little whistles and bells, whatever it is, totally up to you. And then maybe over here, there's more sort of complex, higher functioning displays about maybe emotional experiences that you're having. Maybe I'm going to talk about this in some additional videos around thoughts, feelings, and actions. If you've had any coaching, or if you've worked with a coach, or if you've had therapy and maybe you've done some cognitive behavior therapy, that cycle of the thoughts we experience, the feelings that are triggered by those thoughts or in conjunction with those thoughts, and then the actions that we choose, the reactions or responses that we have. It's a big component to a lot of the work that I do. Maybe over here is the display about that cycle, about what thought just came up for you. Oh, they think I did a bad job at this school project. Or I didn't get a promotion at work, and that's now producing a certain feeling in me, right? Maybe you can sort of see that cycle and that data coming through over here. Like everything, we get good at what we practice, and it takes practice to start paying attention to our control center, to start learning how to use it. So you're in your cockpit, you're in your control center, you're, whatever you want to call it. You're looking at all your displays, your dashboard that's in front of you, and sometimes we're not quite sure what some of the signals mean. So we got to start learning, and you can open up your instruction manual and maybe even start writing some shortcuts for yourself. Oh, when that red light is blinking, that means this. Maybe this red blinking light that's over here, we usually interpret to mean that we're anxious. Oh, I'm really anxious. And when I'm anxious, that means I'm worried I'm not going to do a good job at the thing I'm preparing for. Like, say you have a big test coming up, or an interview, or a performance, or something. And those signals, that red light that blinks, you are maybe used to interpreting as, I'm worried I'm not going to do a good job at this thing, or be good enough for this thing. Maybe that's how we're used to interpreting that signal of that red blinking light. The knots in your stomach, the tension in your shoulders, the sweatiness, the unable to focus, whatever it may be. When we are a master of our dashboard, we can start to choose the interpretation of the red blinking light. It's not a foregone conclusion. It's not written in stone. We can rewire some of the displays so that when that red light is blinking, I used to interpret that light to mean I'm worried I'm going to do a bad job at this thing. Maybe it just means I care about this thing. Oh, well, how do I want to support that? Now I can start choosing some actions to support that. I want to get a good night's sleep. I want to make sure I'm prepared with whatever questions I want to ask during the thing. It doesn't have to mean, oh God, I'm not going to do a good job at this thing. And just because someone handed us our control center and said, this is what the red blinking light means, doesn't mean that has to be how it stays. We can rewire our dashboard in ways that serve us. You get to start interpreting what the different blinking lights mean, or the avatar bioluminescent mushrooms mean as they're talking to you and blinking at you, or whatever it is. And it takes practice. It takes practice to start becoming a master of your control center, right? Oh, we gotta crank up this dial. We need some sleep because maybe we just need a rest because these signals are telling us that I'm a little bit overworked. We get to start being in charge of that. And I think it becomes really exciting because there's gonna be, the more you start mastering like certain chunks of your control room, right? Then you can start leveling up a little bit, just like a video game. Then maybe there's a whole section of displays over here that maybe you didn't even know that you could start doing things with. You could do some advanced functions here. And the more you feel like these other displays are second nature in terms of like managing your hunger, managing your physical needs, maybe managing some of these emotional and psychological things that may be going on for you, then we start this panel opens up when you level up. And you can start being like, oh my gosh, well, now I can get into some really other interesting areas. My system can start doing some more advanced things too. I can juggle this while doing that. I can care for myself in a more precise way. So there's lots more you can do with that, but I just wanted to introduce the idea of your display, your dashboard, your control center, your control room, your cockpit, whatever you want to call it. I really invite you to get really specific with visualizing it. Think about where your cup holder is, whatever it looks like for you, and become the place that you love being, and you get to start observing where the signals are and what they mean. Once you get really clear as to what your cockpit looks like, what your control room looks like, then we can start leveling up. We can start using that foundation, that sort of metaphor, to do some other interesting things with in the future.